All right, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. You see I think that's it. Is that maybe an oil painting? I don't know what that is behind me. That is, I'm down in Florida for a couple of days, and that is going to be the backdrop for now. So hopefully it's not too distracting. I think it's okay. Bringing in Bryan Leonard, Tokyo Brandon. Bryan, I want to go to you first to kick things off. We're going to go out to Dodger Stadium because you sort of foreshadowed on this show the Mets last week. Actually, Tokyo Brandon brought it up as well. Juan Soto goes down. I thought they'd be fine at home against teams like the Diamondbacks and the A's, and that was not the case. And then I said on Monday, this has the makings of a potential pretty big losing streak here as they now head out to LA. Pretty much, Dodgers a $2 favorite in both games, and that is where the Mets are right now. They lose 2-1 last night. Had their chances, but couldn't get over the hump. And that's 7 straight losses for a team that coming into the year, I think if you were to look at win totals, had the second highest win total expectation in the National League. So let's talk about that. Big national TV game tonight. Do you see the Mets snapping it here? They're, close to a $2 dog again.
Yeah, I do. I think we all do videos every single day. I do an afternoon video. And I broke down the game yesterday. I had the Mets plus 1.5, and I also had to go under. So I'm glad you went to this one, I had a pretty good eye on that yesterday. Clay Holmes against Ohtani. Ohtani right now is about anywhere from a 210 to a 220 favorite, total of 8. Right now, the Mets just are not hitting, and it makes it tough to back them. My numbers continue to show each and every day that the numbers are showing value on the Mets, but this is one of the things that you have to learn as a handicapper. You get your numbers. We all have some sort of numbers that we take a look at, and do you blindly play your numbers, or do you have to use the numbers and kind of manipulate them a little bit depending on how the team looks? And right now, the Mets just do not look well at all. They started the game off with a home run from Lindor, and they never scored again. That was the first batter of the game. So I believe that broke a 20-inning streak of not scoring. And they couldn't build on it, and so now they have an 8-inning streak of not scoring. Going up against Ohtani and this LA bullpen, I'm not a big believer in the Mets bats today. So I'm either going to find a way to play the Mets team total under. And Brandon and I have gone back and forth on this about when Ohtani pitches. I've done the research. I'm sure he has reasons too, but he doesn't hit as well when he pitches. And right now, his goal is, as we mentioned before, is to pitch as many innings as possible. He wants to be in the Cy Young talk. So I expect him to go farther than Holmes. Holmes coming back from some injuries, and we'll see how it goes. But I like the Dodgers, but I don't want to lay that number. So I'll either play the Mets team total under, or maybe, the Dodgers for a long time were very good at laying the 1.5. Obviously, you're only getting 8 innings if they win this game, and they're expected to win it 2 out of 3 times. So something to that range. But God, the Mets offense right now, they brought a couple of guys up from the minors. So they're trying to make some changes, but the guys that they were expecting to hit, even the rookies, they're just not hitting well. They're stealing bases, but if you can't steal bases, you can't get on base, you can't steal bases. So, I don't want any part of the Mets offense in this one.
Tokyo Brandon, let's bring you in here. One of the points that you made early in the season was Ohtani and sort of his quest for a Cy Young, wanting to be in that conversation, pitching deeper into games because of it, or at least that being the goal. Another point you've made on the show a couple of times, which I think is worth revisiting, is, maybe Ohtani is, maybe his numbers fall off a little bit when he pitches, but he's still probably hitting above 300. And you talked about the depth on this Dodgers team, the lineup, like even in a night last night where they only scored 2 runs. I mean, you can't, and I'll just throw this to you. The Dodgers maybe haven't played even close to their best baseball yet. they come into play 13-4. So Dodgers Mets, how do you take a look at this one?
Yeah. Hey, they fixed our font. Our fonts are normal today. I put up my pitcher outs projections about a half hour before the show on my Twitter. And Ohtani, my numbers have him projected at 15, but we discussed this last time he started. Brian and I are in agreement. The only thing Ohtani has not accomplished is winning a Cy Young Award. Basically, he's won the MVP. He's won a World Series. He's a pitcher. He's a batter. He's a giraffe or a unicorn. He's amazing. Probably the best player to ever play the game. And what else does he have to do? Win a Cy Young. So he's not going to make 2 starts a week or anything like that. So his only chance is when he has a start. So I disagree with my numbers that I put up on my Twitter. I think he's going to go deep. I checked his outs recorded prop. It's 17.5, but it's quite juiced. It's minus 170 or something like that for over 17.5. 17.5 means he'll finish 6 innings. So I won't bet that. He'll probably finish 6 innings though, because the Mets bats are very flaccid right now, and they'll probably remain that way. The question is, are the Dodgers going to explode? Right now, the Braves are hitting better than the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are still, according to my numbers, ranked number 6 in MLB. The Mets bullpen, despite their struggles, is performing quite well. So I think we'll see a similar game to yesterday, because I think Holmes is pretty good. I think we'll see a similar game to yesterday. It might not be 2-1 or something like that, but I think we'll see an under here. I think we'll see a 4-1, 4-2 kind of game here today. I don't expect a big explosion.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a similar game to yesterday. And, what I'll go with is, Brian talked about yesterday liking that Mets plus 1.5. That ends up hitting in a 2-1 game. Some high leverage outs there at the end. Pretty cool moment for Alex Vesia, coming in and striking out 3 batters in front of the healthcare workers that helped, with the tragedy that he had to deal with last year. So reason I bring that up, it was a high sort of leverage energy, like end to the game that the Dodgers were able to close out. Sometimes you have to come back the next day and, you've won a couple in a row. It could be a little bit of a flat spot for the Dodgers. So I do think, and Brian, I'll let you sort of hammer the point home because you were all over this game yesterday. My numbers are showing value with the Mets pretty much every single day at this point. So I have to really dig deeper, because yesterday, value on the Mets, but day before, value on the Mets. I didn't play either. They lose the opener 4-0. Yesterday, they do get there with the plus 1.5. Without a doubt, plus 1.5 makes sense. But and one other thing I'll throw to you, when it's these high-profile teams that get on a losing streak, good teams, listen, teams like the Rockies, I never worry about playing them off 6 or 7 losses. They're used to losing. It's not going to change their mentality. But a team like the Mets is not used to losing this many in a row. Is there a point where you start saying, hey, I kind of want to see one first before I go to the window?
Yeah, well, there's a few teams like that. Toronto, we've been going against Milwaukee. I found another way to lose last night. Talking about the last of the ninth and losing extra innings. I had Cleveland yesterday as my 4% play, and I thought I had a nice winner there. So that was the thing last night that cost me, is just not being able to close out games. The Dodgers right now, obviously their closer they're a little tentative about using him, but they have a full group of people in the back of the bullpen that have had closing experience, so it doesn't affect them as much as it does other teams. I know Cincinnati today, their closer got hurt, pulled his hamstring right after the game ended, so he won't be playing today. So now there's a little bit of uncertainty in the Cincinnati bullpen, but these teams that have a lot of veterans that have won before, they can make those adjustments. The other teams that are not used to winning, like the Reds, I have a little bit more concerns about that. But yeah, the Dodgers right now lead baseball with, I believe it's a 134 WRC plus on the season, but they haven't hit quite as well lately. But we know what the Dodgers can do offensively. We thought we knew what the Mets could do offensively, but even their veterans are not hitting well. So it likely will not be a high scoring game, and the total of 8 tells you that. So, but let me get a quick look and see if you are interested in the spread. You can get the Mets right now at plus 1.5, basically minus 115. Is that a bargain? With a number of 8, not as much as it would be a bargain of 7.5, but it's a way to, if you want to play the Mets, that may be the way to go.
Bryan, I want to stay with you because you brought up a game, and we'll transition here to another team that has somehow lost 7 games in a row, and that is the Milwaukee Brewers. Couldn't have come out any better. I believe they started the season 7-1, and just looked awesome in that first series with the Royals. Come out, take the opener against the Red Sox. There was a series before that against, but again, going into the Royals series, the Red Sox series, they come out, take that opener. They lose 2 to the Red Sox and then inexplicably get swept by the Nationals. Still trying to wrap my head around how that happened. And now I'm kind of trying to wrap my head around how they blew last night's game. It was a game that it felt like they had in hand, had control of. Ended up, and then of course they come back. It looks like, okay, they choked it away. Now they're going to take it back, and they found a way to lose it in extra innings for their 7th straight loss. So from one 7-loss team to another, do you look at the Brewers the same way as you're looking at the Mets right now?
Well, you take a look at the last 7 days hitting wise, they've got 4 guys in their lineup, starting lineup for the Brewers, that are hitting in the 300s, meaning they're not hitting well at all. The only guys who are hitting well, Bryce Terang, I believe he had 2 home runs yesterday. He's 31st. Bowers, who is hitting some home runs, is 99th or 20th. And Gary Sanchez, who is replacing their starting catcher, is gotten off to a pretty nice start. But a lot of guys they've counted on have not played well. They've got the combination of David Hamilton and Luis Rengifo playing third base. Neither one of them has gotten off to a very good start. So, yeah, the Brewers are struggling right now. And if you take a look at the bullpen, that's a real concern to me, because you came into the season and you had your Trevor McGill fans and you had your Abner Uribe fans. And who's going to get the close? Who's going to be getting the saves for this team? Well, neither one of them, because they both stink right now. The last 14 days, McGill is rated 301 and Uribe is rated 233. So neither one of them are pitching well. In fact, you look at the entire bullpen, the only one that's pitching well is DL Hall. And I've talked about him in the past. He was a guy that was supposed to have been a star starter. They put him in the bullpen. He hasn't really worked out in the past, but this year, I don't think he's given up a run. He's their best bullpen arm, but they usually throw him in like the 6th inning. So they're having some problems. Guys who are usually locked down late are not that way. And we saw it last night as we see McGill blow a save, throwing 20 pitches, and Uribe throws 20 pitches. So they used a lot of bullpen yesterday. Now, they did have Monday off. So that is a factor. But right now, can you really trust the Brewers? They're not playing Brewers type of baseball. And when you don't have the talent, like a lot of teams do, it's like when Cleveland's got their way they play, Brewers got their way they play, Tampa Bay's got that way they play. They don't have the best talent in the world. They have to be able to play their type of baseball. When you're not, they're not a team I'm looking to back. And right now, Cease is going for Toronto. Cease is the guy that I trust for them, but he does walk players, and you don't want to put Milwaukee batters on deck or on the bases, because they steal a lot of bases, but they're not getting on base right now. So interesting game. The total 7.5 here. I like Cease. Patrick's done basically everything they needed. 7.5 is really kind of low, but do you really trust the Milwaukee offense right now? And Toronto's offense is still something that they're not playing up to their abilities offensively.
Yeah, Tokyo Brandon, I'm looking at this Blue Jays lineup. Help me out with some of these names. Kazuma Okamoto was their third baseman last night. Brandon Valenzuela was their catcher. I saw they grabbed Lenyon Sosa off the discount rack the other day. They threw him out there for a minute. Eloy Jimenez was hitting 5th last night for this team. Just slotted him in the 5-hole. He went 0 for 3. That is an issue. And then Chalk Bo Bichette's now in New York. So, man, I'm going to double down. Even though they lost yesterday, I'm still pretty anti-Blue Jays in the short term right now.
Every day when the slate comes out, well, actually, yeah, when I know the starting pitchers, probably the day before the game, I make a poo list. I call it silent flaccidity, and the Blue Jays are on that list today. I have several conditions that I take: pitcher form, team form. Are they up? Are they down? And I don't call it sandwich spots because Marco kind of coined that term, but I do have several terms or conditions that I put into an algorithm, and then it spits me out teams to avoid or teams that should be flaccid today. And today, those teams are the Cubs and the Blue Jays. So that's the first thing I do when I do my capping. And then the second thing I do is I'll compare the teams. And the Blue Jays beat the Brewers at every single category. So I am a little flummoxed here because my numbers are saying bet the Blue Jays. It's a slam dunk. And actually the starter OPS ranks that I put out on my Twitter earlier, Cease is pretty high on that list. In 61 bats against, he has a 620 OPS against these batters. Plus, they're somewhat, in limbo right now, the Brewers. At the beginning of the season, they came out, kind of swinging pretty good, and they're just dead cold right now. Got them ranked 26th out of 30 teams right now. So the numbers say bet the Blue Jays, but my conditions algorithm says stay off the Blue Jays today. So I'm in a rock and a hard place here, so I probably won't bet this game.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I clarify something. This is what happens when you say they instead of repeating the team name. So that's on me. The Blue Jays, the Brewers lost 9-7. That's what I meant earlier. The Brewers lost, but
we all know that. We have ESPN, guys.
We're not going to make that change.
Mistake. Thanks.
It does not change my opinion of the Blue Jays just because they found a way to steal that game yesterday. That's kind of, I guess, the point I want to make here. Now, it doesn't mean down the road that the Blue Jays won't become a team to buy, right? Because they still have that like high ceiling. If they start to get healthy, right? Kirk comes back, this pitching right now the Blue Jays have a starting rotation on the IL, but I lean toward that not being the case because you've got some guys, right? Cody Ponce is done for the year. I mean, I don't think we'll see him back. You have some other guys that, now I do think Trey Savage is going to throw for Buffalo today. I'm pretty sure he's throwing for Buffalo. So you could see him back sooner than later. If that starting pitching really starts to take shape, that might change my opinion on this team. But the real concern I have is they don't have much depth and they have nothing to trade. So if you get down 2 months down the road and the Blue Jays have a need, going to be hard for them to fill it in what the trade market looks like it's going to be come June or July. I don't think they have much to give up. And that is a concern since they're already so banged up and it's so early in the season. All right, let's head back to the chat. Quick promo. You get the double play promo. Any of the handicappers you see on the screen right now in a 2-for-1, that's up on all of our page. I also believe that the 6-day for the price of 3 all access special is still going probably through the end of this month. With NHL playoffs starting, that's a great one. If you like NHL and you use that for Brian, you would get the MLB and the NHL. So and then of course Tokyo Brandon and I are going in multiple baseball leagues, so a lot of baseball volume as well. All right, I'll throw this back to you, TB. G Hurt says we need to talk the Pirates. Pirates, they fell short yesterday, but that again doesn't change my opinion on this team at all. I still think that they're a team that I'll probably be looking to back. I'm actually surprised. I thought when they made it 5-4 in the 5th that they would get over the hump at some point against that Nats bullpen, but they just couldn't. Nationals were able to grind out a 5-4 win. Now we come back today. The Pirates, and let me just make sure I've quote the correct pitching matchup. I don't think we know. It's probably going to be Mlodzinski in some sort of like bulk role. I don't know if the Pirates are going to use Montgomery or not.
Yeah,
Montgomery would be an opener, so he's not not going to be the guy that's like actually throwing the bulk of the innings. But I'm glad you brought that up, TB. It looks like you'll probably go Montgomery off the top, maybe Mlodzinski in a bulk role, who I've liked this year. And it's definitely going to be Irvin on the other side. Of course, that's Jake Irvin, not to be confused with Cole Irvin, who is now back from KBO and in the States, I believe in the Dodgers organization, because they just don't have enough good players. So Nats Pirates to you, Tokyo Brandon. Are you going back to the well with the Bucks today?
So the Pirates are playing a lot better than anyone expected. The Nationals are horrible at everything except hitting, but hitting's half the game, right? So I have the Nationals ranked 24th in bullpen out of 30 teams, and I have Irvin ranked 24th on a curve of 30 for all starting pitchers, but I have the Nationals ranked 7 in hitting. So this team is going to go over probably every single day, but the books are going to catch up to it. So do you want to bet a 9.5? It's a steep number because you have to go over a 5-4 win, which is it's a steep step to take there. So that bullpen is just really bad. I mean, as soon as the starter comes out, woof. I mean, watching that team is just like watching fireworks. So one thing that's keeping me off this game, though, because you would think, oh, Pirates all the way, because Pirates are hitting 7 in MLB right now, but their bullpen's not performing very well either. So I would think this will go over. However, on my starter OPS rankings, Irvin ranks rather high. He has actually tamed these batters he's facing today. So if things align, Washington could take this, but I don't know if the Pirates are a 2.5 in the first 5, I might think of an under in that. But there'll probably be only a 1.5, and betting under 1.5's first 5 innings in MLB is such a risky proposition. If the Pirates are 2.5 first 5, I might think about doing that.
Brian, I will leave the side and the total for you, mostly because as I've come on the show basically every day, talked about being high in the Pirates. I don't really like where this one is priced. So what I will do in this game is what I said I was going to do yesterday. And I will take Connor Griffin, total bases, over the 1.5. That was the bet I talked about on trying to remember what day of the week it is. Of course, it's Wednesday. I talked about it on Monday on Under the Radar. I said maybe even a ladder in that scenario. He got 4 last night. And I use a 1.5 because that's kind of where it's been priced on a daily basis. 1.5 was a little bit more juiced yesterday than it was the day before. He still gets there, goes 2 for 4. I think I will do that just for some pizza money, if you will, every day until it loses, because he's sitting down there batting $189. His OPS is under 500, yet he's a generational talent, and he's hitting at the bottom of the order. So, like, the books are going to build in a little. You're going to get a little extra because he's hitting down in the order. And to Tokyo Brandon's point, Irvin's had good numbers against these Pirates. Irvin has never faced Connor Griffin. So Griffin might get one early in a count that he can ambush. And who knows, maybe even his first big league home run today, Brian. But talk to me about Pirates Nationals and if you've got anything in this game.
Well, we've talked about Washington's offense. And right now, there's only 3 teams in baseball that have a better WRC plus. That's the Dodgers, Houston, and Atlanta. Washington is a good hitting team. We talked about this coming into the season, and Brandon talked about it. It's a team where the first thing that pops in your mind is you got to play the over when Washington plays, because their starters stink and their relievers are even worse. So with a 117 WRC plus, and Pittsburgh's a pretty good hitting team right now. They're 10th in baseball at 107. So you got two teams hitting well. This is traditionally not a good hitting ballpark. You rarely see 9s that we're seeing today. There's a couple 9.5s out there also. Montgomery, first game. I don't remember when he played at Tampa if they ever used him as an opener. I think he was more of a back end guy. So you've got him in a strange position where he's, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, but as far as I know, he's not experienced at starting a game. Mlodzinski's looked really good all but one game. I expect him to go 5 innings. So through the 6th inning, you're going to get Montgomery for 1. and Ledzinski for 5, as long as they're having success through those 6 innings. Yes, some decent pitching for Pittsburgh, but the first thing I got to look at here is the overs. And I know Irvin may have had success against Pittsburgh in the past. This is a different Pittsburgh team. They've built up. They don't have, in the past, they've had probably 4 or 5 guys that were pretty sure outs, guys you'd love to face. They don't have that break in the lineup this year as they've had in the past. And the bench for Pittsburgh, I think, is stronger this year than it is in the past. So if I'm playing the over 9 at minus 120, something in that range. The reason why Washington wins is because they out hit the opposition. They could out hit Pittsburgh in this game. So I'm not laying that big number with Pittsburgh. So I kind of like the over a little bit.
Makes sense.
Montgomery last started games regularly for Durham in 2024. And that was kind of when the Rays decided that wasn't going to work out because he was not good as a starting pitcher. I believe pretty much just got sort of blasted out of that role and into the bullpen. How about the Pirates, though? Cooking in that trade so far, turning Mike Burrows into Brandon Lowe and Mason Montgomery. That's pretty good. They're early in the lead for that 3-team deal, in my opinion. Tokyo Brandon, I'm going to go to you. Bruce Green says any overs you guys like. So since you're a totals guy at times, give us a game we haven't talked about yet where you might like an over.
Okay. Here's some betting advice, though. Don't get your heart set on betting an over or betting an under or betting a run line or something like that. Look at the matchups first and then bet what you think is going to win. So don't get your heart set on an over today. However, there is an actual over in a game that I like, and we have not talked about it yet, and that would be in the Tampa Bay White Sox game. So I think Tampa Bay is swinging the bat pretty well right now, and they're going up against a guy who has a decent whip but a poor ERA. And when I see that, what it tells me is he's not putting guys on base. He's got pretty good command, but when people touch the ball, it flies. So I kind of like Tampa Bay's first 5 total here, over 1.5 in the first 5. In recent games, they're getting the over in that. I don't know much about the Rays starter today. So generally when I cap, I avoid X factors like that, or a guy making his first start. There's someone else making their first start today. I forgot who it is, but it's a veteran that we all know, but he's making his first start today. I forgot who it is, but I avoid things like that. I want to see him make a start. Oh, is it Heel? No, he already started. There's someone out there. Anyways, I like to see him start. I like to see him get their feet wet a little bit before I bet them. So I consider that an X factor. And today, the Tampa Bay Rays starter to me is an X factor. So I'm going to take their team total in the first 5 over 1.5. I think that's a good, if you're looking for an over, I think that would be a good over to take because Tampa's swinging the bat pretty good. White Sox are, reeling a little bit, and I think they can tag. The starter today.
Yeah. So today's starter for the Rays, the White Sox should know very well. It's Jesse Schultens. He was in the White Sox organization. He was in the White Sox organization for a long period of time. Came over to the Rays last year. TB, I'm kind of like you're right about not I don't know exactly what their plan is with him. He did start at Durham last week, so he's a guy that the White Sox used to use out of the bullpen, but the Rays maybe just using as a traditional starter. He went 5 innings in his start at Durham last week, so yeah, I'm not really entirely sure what to expect there either. Brian, it's going to be Sean Burke for the White Sox. He's a guy that I believe was sort of, going to pitch him out of the bullpen. I think he got the start early in the year against the Brewers. It didn't go well. Against the Blue Jays, he came in a piggyback role, pitched much better. 6 innings is a 1-run ball against the Blue Jays. And then a traditional start for the last time out against the Orioles. So Burke is more of a starter. He's a guy that kind of actually pitched his way, I think, into an opening day start maybe a season or two ago. So they've had him around. I feel like he's been very up and down. He's a big guy, so he's like he looks the part. If you want someone that really looks the part, it's Sean Burke. He just, again, hit or miss. So are you in agreement with TB that you might see some runs here?
Yeah, Sean Burke's had problems pitching to lefties. Last year he had a 12.7 walk rate against lefties. That will hurt him against a team like Tampa Bay, who they don't have a ton of power on that team. They got a few guys that can hit for power, but a lot of guys, Yandy Diaz for one, has had a lot of success, I believe, against Burke in the past. And he is more of a guy that keeps it in the ballpark and hits for a pretty good average. He does have, I think, he's got 20 home run potential. I believe he had 20 last year. But yeah, the White Sox right now, a lot of people were jumping all over the starter yesterday. His first major league pitching. I wanted to fade the White Sox yesterday, and I didn't get there. I should have. Anytime you've got a guy coming up to the majors, and all anybody talks about, can't wait for this guy to get in there. He has not faced major league pitchers in the past, and they waited him out. And that's how they got a lot of success. Tampa Bay, say what you want about them, they're a smart hitting team, and they can score some runs against Sean Burke because he does put some guys on base, and he is very up and down. So yeah, that's basically my opinion here. If somebody's looking for a total, I might as well just give you my best bet on the show today. I was going to give this out to clients, and if this show had been taped an hour earlier, it would have been probably a big play for me. But the people are smart. Bettors are smart. The guys betting early at this time are usually sharp guys, and they're betting on this Angels-Yankees game to go over the total, either in the first half or in the full game. I've seen moves both ways. Kashanowitz is a guy I look to fade. Hill is a guy I look to fade. If you take a look at expected walks in this game, let me see if I can find that here somewhere. Okay. Expected walks. Keep in mind, neither one of these guys are expected to go a full 5 innings. My chart says Kashanowitz 4.1 and Hill 4.8. Yet, between the two of them, in less than 5 innings, they're expected to walk 7.8 batters. 8 batters in 5 innings are getting free passes in this game. The wind's blowing out at Yankee Stadium. I love this first 5 over. Now, the problem was when I put it down that I was going to give it out to my clients, it was 5.5. Well, now the 5.5s are basically 130s and 140s. You got to go over 6 here. That's fine. I trust both these teams. The Yankees are starting to hit. They're hitting some homers. Judge is starting to warm up a little bit. And the Angels, as I mentioned earlier, they're one of the top 3 hitting teams in Major League Baseball. They'll have some success here. I like the over 6. There's not many times I'm looking for an over 6 in a first 5 game, but I'm still playing it. It's not as good of a play as it was at 5.5 minus 120 earlier, but at over 6 and minus 110, I still think it's a bargain. I think both these guys really struggle, and because they're both going to be struggling, managers may just keep them in the game longer and save the bullpens a little bit. That's even better for our overs. So we go with the Yankees, Angels over 6 in the first half of the game at minus 110 will be my best bet on the show today.
All right. Yeah. I mean, listen, you asked for an over and you got 2 right there. TB, quickly, do you want to add anything on Angels Yankees before we move on from that game?
Yeah. Heel is my number 1 OPS matchup today. He's got a
Froze up.
Did we lose TB right there?
He seems to have been froze up.
Okay, so
sorry. Did I cut off?
All right,
there you go.
I think he's
Did I
back.
cut off?
Start again.
That's so weird. Okay. Yeah, I think Heel is going to perform well here, and I think the first 5 Angels 2.5 under would be a good play here. I think the Yankees bounce back, and Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. I think Heal's a pretty good pitcher. I don't think he showed what he's got in his first start, and I think he'll come back. That's how I would approach it, but that's not my parlay late.
Well, we're gonna make the people wait for your parlay leg. You're gonna close it out today. The 3-teamer. I'll go next, and because D Cerna, 1987 says, let's go over an early game. Didn't realize we hadn't hit an early game yet because I'm not really looking at the game times, but I just looked down. This one is early. This is going to be my parlay leg. And I'm going to back early. I'm going to back Connolly early right here in the Red Sox. Now, you might say, Trig, you came on here and made your case for the Twins yesterday. You love this Twins team. Listen, that's long-term, okay? That's I want to clarify something. Just because I did hit the Twins yesterday as part of our parlay, I thought that was a better matchup for them. I like the Twins at 7-1 to win the division because I'm looking at what could happen over 162 games. I'm looking at the depth in their organization, some young guys that I'd probably have priced differently than the market might have them priced. And so for me, my expected wins on the Twins were higher than the market. And then I look at the rest of the division, I say, hey, this is like an actual possibility. By process of elimination. I don't love the White Sox. I don't love the Guardians. I don't love the Royals. And I don't love the Tigers. So that is why I like the Twins. On a day-to-day basis, I have no problem betting against the Twins if the situation dictates it. I think the situation dictates it. And if you've listened to me for any period of time, if you were my client last year and read what I wrote about, when I write up the AAA games, I've been talking about Connolly early since he was coming up from AA to Worcester. And now he has arrived in the league. And I still, because they haven't really hit for him yet, he hasn't gotten a win. I still don't think he's getting the respect that he probably deserves for how good this kid is. And I look on the other side, I see Simeon Woods Richardson, 4A guy. Bryan Leonard loves that term. I think Woods Richardson's a guy that, he's a veteran at this point. He's not going to kill you. Is he someone that you want in your rotation if you are trying to play winning baseball for an entire season? Probably not. He's okay. He's not someone I'm willing to not oppose. And the Twins, listen, they're playing great ball right now. They're still at best probably a 500 team. I was talking, Brian, to our buddy Steve Fezzik off air last night, and he kind of was pushing back on the Twins a little bit. I said, listen, 82-80 could win this division if it goes how I think it's going, which would be the path to that Twins 7-1 hitting, right? Like, I don't think the Twins are coming out and winning 88 games. I think so I just want to make sure that that's clear. Whereas the Red Sox, I know it's been awful to this point, but they're if they figure it out, I think they're going to be fine. And if right now with all that's gone on, the one guy I'm still very much willing to go and back at where he's priced on a start-to-start basis is Connolly early. So that will be my parlay leg. There's your day game. I think the Red Sox are going to salvage one from this series in Minnesota. And I think it's only like minus 122. Let me get Brian, do you have the odds screen open right now?
I do. You're looking anywhere from 120 to 130. It's 120, 127, I would say, is probably
127. Yeah, I see it's moved a little bit since we came on the show. So Red Sox minus 127. I did not play that for clients yet. I've kind of been thinking about it all morning. It is on the short list, and it will be my leg in the parlay. Brian, before we move on to TV, did you want to add anything on that Red Sox Twins game? I know you looked toward the Red Sox earlier this week.
Yeah, I did. I prefer early, but when I bet him, I don't think he's got a win yet, does he?
No, it's because they don't hit for him at all.
Yeah. That's the thing right now. I prefer him from a pitching standpoint, but as we kind of talked about yesterday, this Minnesota Twins team, hey, they're not used to winning, and they're really excited to go to the ballpark every day. When was the last time in Minnesota we've seen that? I know the players didn't like the former coach, and he was there for a long time. So, yeah, maybe some renewed excitement in Minnesota for the fans and for the players. But I'm like, I agree with Fezzik a little bit more. I don't think they're going to win the division, But hey, this division is up for grabs, and nobody else seems to want to claim it. And we see that all the time in sports. If nobody's look at the Pacific Division in the NHL this year, if the Golden Knights win tonight, they win that division, and people weren't even thinking they were going to make the playoffs just like a month ago.
TB, could you get down with a Connolly early prop of any sort? Because I don't think these Twins hitters have really seen him much.
Well, I don't have enough numbers on him to actually give out a prop on him, but I did put my outs recorded projections up. So let me take a quick look and see where he ranks on that. I probably, I've got him at 14 outs. So pretty light. I don't know if I trust my numbers today, actually. 14 seems a little low. I think he'll finish 6 innings or 5 innings.
It's all going to be about if they let him go that far. That's the other thing. I took a loss on backing early against the Reds earlier this year. He was cruising. They took him out in a spot where I felt like it was a little early to take him out. No pun intended. And the next guy came in and served up a 3-run bomb to kill that one for me. He was great. So it's a good point that you're making right there. But man, at this point, just to go back to your projection and then maybe thinking it's a little light at this point, if you're the Red Sox and he's throwing the ball well, you'd be great. You have to let him go. Like with where they're coming into this game, you've got to let him go, in my opinion. Yeah. Tokyo Brandon, we need, if you want to talk about or close that game out, go ahead. But what we need from you is the third leg of this parlay. So you have the floor.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Red Sox anymore because they're just booty. I watched them yesterday. They play with zero heart. They play with those guys are gutless. That's a horrible team. So watch them turn around now. I'm just kidding. Man, that team is just gutless. They have no desire. They have no heart. They're just flaccid, limp pieces of meat out there. Maybe an under if Early plays well, because he definitely is the one guy on their team who can hold someone down probably because he looked really good. So enough about the Red Sox though, man. That team has zero chance of making the playoffs. So I think I was right. They peaked at 1-5.
Well, it's a lot of talking about the Red Sox for a guy who doesn't want to talk about the Red Sox. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, we got to close
this TV. I thought that was going to blow up in your face when you said that, and they've actually looked worse since you said that. It's actually
they have. They certainly have. Now watch them make the playoffs, just like the Brewers did last year. So my leg is I'm going to cheat today on my parlay. I'm going to take the Dodgers first 5 innings. I think it's -230, -220. I'm going to take Dodgers first 5. I think Ohtani's going to come out fiery, ripped, ready to go. And the Mets lineup since losing Soto have been listless as well. So at least they look like they're trying. The Red Sox don't even look like they're trying. So the Mets look like they're trying. They just can't. So I'll take the Dodgers in the first 5 and take a look at my Twitter X there for my outs projections. I also put up batters to back in your props. So take a look at that.
Yeah, I mean, we're putting together a 3-teamer, so the 220 for the first 5 is fine. Now, TB, I'll throw this out to you. If someone wanted to bet that straight, would you take a shot? Would you take a chance at the -half a run for -135, -140?
I like Holmes though. He's not dog meat. So, but man, this Dodgers lineup. I mean, their 7, 8, 9 is producing better than most teams 3, 4, 5. So. Yeah, that would be tough to lay a run, but you probably would have to. I don't think the Mets are going to score in the first 5, to be honest.
Well, real quick, 20 seconds around the horn for each of us. Got to get a grip. Says, think the Mets could miss the playoffs. It's early, but TB, yes or no? Mets miss the playoffs.
I think the proper question is, are the Mets going to make the playoffs? They're 7-11.
That's what he's asking.
That's what he's asking. That's what he's
saying.
The
Mets could miss the playoffs? They're already going to miss the playoffs. Will they make the playoffs or not? No, they're not going to make the playoffs.
I'll say yes, they could miss the playoffs only because it's a real possibility that they are the third best team in their division. And if you're the third best team in your division, then it's absolutely possible you can miss the playoffs.
True.
Bryan Leonard,
Wasn't
thoughts?
thinking. Yeah.
If they've got money in New York, they can make the changes. It's not like a lower income type of team. Any team in New York, LA, Chicago, if they want to make the playoffs, they have the ability to do it. So that's the only thing that keeps me away from it.
Jonah Tong looked really good for Syracuse yesterday in terms of, like, I think he had 10 strikeouts. You may see, like, that's the other thing. They've got some pitching down there. It's very possible the Mets will be fine, but I also think there two things can be true, right? The Mets might be fine, and they still might be the third best team in their division. Both of those things could be true. Of course, I'm referring to the Phillies and then the Braves, who have looked really good if they and they're not even healthy yet. So, good question though. I thought that was a good way to end the show, but the way we'll actually end the show is by reading off the 3-teamer that we've got locked in. Tokyo Brandon's going to kick us off. Dodgers first 5 -220. I'm going to go with the Red Sox -127. That is the early game. And then Bryan Leonard's going over 6 in the Bronx tonight. Yankees, Angels. That's first 5. So a couple of first 5s. Dodgers first 5 money line. Yankees, Angels, first 5 over 6. And then I will go with the Red Sox full game. To get all of our plays, head on over to the WagerTalk site. Check out that double play special. We also have the all access special, 3 days. You basically get 6 days for the price of 3. All of those specials are live on all of our pages. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. for more Total Basis. Have a great day, everyone.